Gray, Chief of Sustainability with the City of Cleveland.
And Fred Collier again here next to Matt Gray. We're here to talk to you today about scooters. The City Council and the City Administration just passed legislation recently to allow for scooters to be a part of our mobility options for the City of Cleveland. We're really excited about it, and this legislation is the first of its kind in the city. One of the things that we're really focused on in the City of Cleveland is creating multiple options for transportation in our public right-of-ways. And this will allow motorized scooters to be a part of that transportation mix.
Great. In addition, we're also going to have additional bikes on the street this summer. So you see right next to me, for a couple years now, we've had a form of shared mobility in the form of these UH bikes. We've had about 250 bikes on the streets, about 29 stations. What we're excited about is we're kind of moving beyond just the docked system. So these are docked bikes to more dockless. The main difference is that you don't have to lock them up to stations like this. You basically can take the scooters, take the bikes out, and you can park them in what we call the furniture zone, right? So that's basically the area between the street and where people walk on the sidewalk, similar to where these bikes are right now. What we're pumped about is that this type of work, if regulated properly, which is what we're doing with City Council, is that it really meets our sustainability goals when we think about equity, the environment, and the economy. So the economy, right? Employers want this, employees want this. It's good for business. Actually, where these stations are, right, and where the scooters and bikes are, it's actually good for those businesses that are located near there. It's good for the environment because it's going to help get cars off the street. Not all cars. We're not saying a scooter ride is going to automatically replace a car trip, but it will help reduce congestion. It'll reduce air pollution. And then finally, the equity piece. What we're excited about is by going dockless, we're going to have many more of these devices, bikes and scooters, which means they'll be in more places. We're going to be having a pilot this summer, probably around 1,000 scooters, maybe 1,500 scooters, as well as more bikes. If it's successful, then next year we want to really go citywide, wherever there's demand. So generally, this is a good fit for Cleveland, and we're just working hard to make sure it works well.
Now, one of the important things that Matt didn't allude to is safety. And the administration wants to make sure that when you're out enjoying these scooters over the summer, that you do it in a safe way. So there are rules. Just a few of those rules include not riding on the sidewalks, particularly in business districts, wanting to make sure that the pedestrian has safe access to get to where they need to go, and you as a scooter rider have an opportunity to get to where you want to go in the safest way possible. The other piece is important is that we don't want speed demons out here on these scooters, so we've capped the speed limit to about 12 miles an hour to ensure that people are not moving too fast through these districts and making sure that they're riding in the road. Now, to all you vendors out there who would potentially be operating in the City of Cleveland, there's also rules for you too. You have to make sure that you do a couple of things. One, follow the rules of our permitting application, which is very important. Secondly, we want to make sure that you all are monitoring your ridership, providing data to the City of Cleveland so that we can be ensured that we understand how these things are blending into the environment. We're going to start off with a 6-month pilot program, and we're going to continue to evaluate until we get to the point where we have, I believe it's an annual permit that you'll be able to apply for. So this can be really exciting for the City of Cleveland, but remember, there are rules, and safety is always first.
So in terms of timing, this just passed out of council last night. This has been a great partnership with council. Our plan is by the end of June to have these permitting applications out on the street. As Director Collier alluded to, for these vendors then can apply to the city for these permits. I do want to talk a second about just how this works, just so everyone's familiar. And a lot of it really is smartphone based. So the idea is if you want to check out a scooter, if you want to check out one of these dockless bikes, they really are using your smartphone. So you basically would go up, you would check it out, you would follow the prompts that would be on the scooter or on the bike, safety prompts, encouraging use of helmet, how to ride in the street, etc. You would check out the bike, normally $1. Most vendors, it's about $1 to check it out. And then there's basically a per minute fee for how long you ride the scooter or bike. So normally when these are used, it's not for a long trip. It's usually the first mile or last mile connection, whether to public transit or where you park. So you're usually looking at around a $2 to $4 trip for these scooters. So you ride around, you go to your destination, you put it in the furniture zone, right, just like behind me. And then often the vendors, not all of them, but you would take a picture actually of the scooter or bike, and that basically makes sure that you're parking it correctly. So for users, if you're not parking it correctly, that can be a problem. So let's say if you want to park it in the middle of the sidewalk, don't do that. That's not good for pedestrians. If it's there for a couple of hours, these things can actually get impounded, similarly if it's in the middle of the street. And then there's a big fee, of course, with impoundment, just like there is with a car. So there's going to be a lot of incentives baked into the whole system to make sure every user is using it properly.
Yes.
And we know there's going to be a learning curve, and part of the vendor's job will also be with education. But that's going to be throughout this process in this pilot period.
And one other point that Chief Gray didn't mention is that the fees that are collected from these devices will be allocated for a shared mobility fund. Now, one of the things that we're going through in the process of in the city of Cleveland is making sure that we have the infrastructure to accommodate these type of devices and other mobility devices. And money doesn't grow on trees, so we're going to be able to utilize those resources and funnel them into opportunities to improve our infrastructure to be more accommodating to multiple mobility devices.
So I think that's about it. Feel free to leave some comments again in the Facebook comment box. And we'll go from there. So look forward to partnering with you this summer.
What's the soonest people can see scooters out?
The soonest people can see scooters, so we will, by the end of the month, be issuing these permit application for vendors. There'll be an internal city team, which we should mention we've been working with about 7 departments to make this happen along with council. We'll be reviewing those. And then the goal is, I'd say, by the end of July, to have these on the streets in our pilot period. So thank you very much.
See you.